Hello everyone. In this session, we would like to discuss about the Flügel's law, which is one of the bases for choosing the cathode as an active electrode in electrical stimulation of the skeletal muscle, whether it is innervated or denervated. This is the original publication, a small part of original publication of Dr. Edward Flügel. The article was in German and was published in 1858. However, if we search online in PubMed with the term Flügel's law, we get the first two results, very nice articles which are based on the Flügel's law, and they contain the basic method of stimulation as used by Flügel. However, they have some little bit of modifications to give a better understanding of how the principle works. The first one is by Berry and Rutherford, and the article was published in 1876. The article is available in full text online on PubMed, and as you can see in its small glimpse that even they are showing a diagrammatic presentation how they use the technique and what modifications did they make in the original method of Flügel, which is actually lacking in the original publication of Dr. Edward Flügel, where we get a full 12 pages of publication but no diagrammatic presentation to get a good visual explanation. The second article is by John Barlow. The article was published in 1878 and is available as full text online. And as you can see from the article of Dr. John Barlow, that they have also presented the graphs produced by the muscle contraction in the experimental model of Dr. Flügel. The graphic represents the experimental setup in Dr. Flügel's model. On the left side and right side we have two muscles mentioned as A and B in the pink color. In the blue line is the two electrode setup, and one is cathode on the side B, the another is anode on the side A. And the two muscles, in the actual experimental setup, the muscles are taken from the frog, and they are kept in such a way that muscle B is in partial contact with muscle A, and both the electrodes are having their separate contacts with muscle A and B individually. So the current passes from muscle B to muscle A to another electrode. So that's how the circuit gets completed. So you can see in the animation that the current passes through both the muscles, and as the current passes through both the muscles, the response of contraction may be produced in either of the muscle or both the muscles. Now let's see how the actual experimental setup worked. So here we have the same setup. Muscle A and muscle B are interconnected. Cathode is connected to muscle B, anode is connected to muscle A, and on the bottom you can see a square wave pulse is present. Currently we are at time 0, so right now there is no current, but as soon as the current passes, what were the responses, we will see very soon. Initially, stronger current is used for the stimulation, and here if we see that in the square wave, as the current increases and reaches to its peak, the response is there in the muscle connected with the cathode, that is muscle B, which contracts. The muscle A, however, shows no response. Once the current has reached the peak and is sustained, none of the muscle shows any contraction. Now as the current drops back to 0, again there is a muscle contraction. However, at this time, instead of muscle B, the contraction is in muscle A, which is connected to the anode. Now the same experiment is repeated, but instead of stronger current, we are using the medium intensity current. As the intensity reaches the peak, both the muscles contract. When the current is sustained, none of the muscle responds with the medium intensity current. Now again, when the intensity drops to 0, both the muscles contract. Now when the experiment is performed with a weak current, that is current with a relatively lower intensity, and as the intensity reaches to its peak, there is a contractile response, but the contraction is not in the muscle B, rather the contraction is seen in muscle A. When the current is sustained at weak intensity, neither A nor the muscle B responds. As the current intensity drops to 0, again there is a response, and at this time the response is in muscle B and there is no response in muscle A. So now if we compile the findings of these experiments in the tabular format, the table would look like this. So the headings are intensity, circuit status, muscle A and muscle B. The intensities we used was in 3 forms: strong intensity, medium intensity and weak. And for each intensity, when the switch was on or switch was off, so the response at that time can be described as circuit is closed or circuit is open. So when the switch is on, the circuit is complete, and that's why we say circuit is closed. And what was the response at that time is contraction of muscle B. As the muscle A did not contract, we have kept the cell blank. So with strong intensity, circuit closed, muscle B contracts, and when the circuit was open, muscle A contracts. With medium intensity current, when the circuit was closed, both the muscle contracts, and when the circuit is open, both the muscles contract. With weak intensity current, when the circuit is closed, muscle A contracts, and when the circuit is open, muscle B contracts. So the interesting finding here is in each experimental model, whether the intensity is strong, medium or weak, when the circuit is closed, that is when the switch is on, obviously one or the other muscle is supposed to contract, and that is an expected response. However, surprisingly, we found that when the switch is off, that means the circuit is open. Even in that time, some of the muscles responded. So this becomes an interesting finding, that how can a muscle respond when the switch is off, like when the switch is turned off, and that should lead to a suspicion that what might be happening inside the muscle membrane, how the electric potentials are working at that level. Putting these questions aside, let us jump to the actual content which is given in the physiology textbooks or electrotherapy textbooks under the heading of Flüger's law. And the content looks like this formula, that is CCC is greater than ACC is greater than AOC, which is greater than COC. What it means to say that the muscle may respond at any electrode, whether it may be cathode or anode, and may respond whether the circuit is open or circuit is closed. So as you can see in the full form, CCC is cathode closing current, ACC is anode closing current, AOC is anode opening current, and COC is cathode opening current. So if you have set up a circuit where the primary stimulating electrode of a muscle is cathode, and when you switch on, that is cathode, and you get a response, you say it is a cathode closing current, and you record the intensity of muscle contraction, and in each this variant, if you measure the strength of muscle contraction, and if you compare it, you will find this result, that is muscle contraction when the cathode closing current is there is strongest, and the weakest contraction is produced when the stimulation is through cathode opening current. So here we have a simplified muscle stimulation setup diagram. So here we have a power source which supplies a DC output, and right now the switch is open, that is it is switched off, and both the electrodes are connected to the same muscle. So when we switch on, the circuit is closed, current passes through the muscle, and when switch is off, the circuit is open, and the peak intensity of current suddenly drops and becomes 0. So here the switch is on, circuit is closed, and response generated through cathode is denoted as CCC, that is cathode closing current, and response generated through ACC is denoted as anode closing current. As soon as we switch off, the current suddenly drops to 0, and that's why there is sudden change in the current, which may also produce a response, and this response can be defined at the level of cathode as COC, that is cathode opening current, and anode, at anode it will be defined as anode opening current. The previous setup was more simplified because both the electrodes were connected to only a single muscle, and muscle contraction which might appear at circuit closing or opening, and we might not be able to identify that whether it was a cathode creating the response or anode creating the response. So a better setup would be connecting the muscle to cathode or anode only, whereas the another electrode would be kept in such a way that it does not directly influence the muscle for production of contraction. So here in this setup, we have connected the muscle to the anode. The cathode, for example, if the stimulation setup is on the human body and we are stimulating one specific muscle in the hand, the cathode would be placed to the specific muscle of the hand. That may be, for example, the common muscle which is abductor pollicis brevis. The anode here in this case would be kept at the level at the back, that is at the spine level. So it will not have any direct effect at the target muscle that is actually present in the hand. The circuit in this case, however, still would be complete, and that's why there will be current flow throughout and we will be able to record the response. So here we have recorded our first response, where as the switch is on, the circuit is closed. The cathode current has induced a muscle contraction, and as you can see, the muscle has shortened from its original length. And in the blue bar we have put a scale, so that is the original length, and the yellow length bar shows the length of the muscle at the end of contraction. And we can simply understand that the stronger the muscle contraction, the shorter a muscle would be. At least for this experimental model, we will understand the maximum shortening is representing the maximum strength of contraction. So we have recorded the strength of contraction with CCC, that is cathode closing current, when the switch was on. And now when we suddenly stop the current and switch off the circuit, again the muscle shows a response, and this contraction is represented as COC, that is with cathode opening current. And as you can see, at this time the muscle shortening is not to that level when it was seen with cathode closing, although the muscle contracts, but the muscle contraction or muscle shortening is much more less as compared to the previous one. And the length of a muscle at the end of contraction is represented with the green bar. So we have recorded the muscle contraction response with CCC and COC, and now we have connected the muscle with the anode, and let us see how the muscle responds. So here when the circuit is switched on, the muscle responds with contraction, but as you can see, the amount of shortening is relatively less as compared to the yellow bar that is representing the cathode closing, but more than the green bar that is representing the cathode opening contraction. And now when the switch is off, the circuit is open. Again the muscle responds, which is connected to the anode, and we mention this recording as the muscle contraction with AOC, that is anodal opening current, and the contraction is, or end length of the muscle is presented with red bar. The bars are not aligned well, that's why we are not able to compare them properly. So let us arrange them and see which contraction was best, that is, which contraction was shortest. So here it is. The post contraction length of the muscle, that is the maximum muscle shortening, was with CCC. Slightly less than that was with ACC, that is anodal closing current. much more less as compared to ACC was with AOC, that is anodal opening current, and the weakest amount of contraction was seen with COC, that is cathodal opening current. And as we can see on the right side, that is percentage of shortening or the strength of contraction. Here we understand it by the maximum amount of shortening. So maximum shortening is present with CCC, cathedral closing current, or slightly less strength of contraction with anodal closing current, even lesser with anodal opening current, and least strength of contraction is with cathedral opening current. So here it is. The post contraction length of the muscle, that is the maximum muscle shortening, was with CCC. Slightly less than that was with ACC, that is anodal closing current. Much more less as compared to ACC was with AOC, that is anodal opening current, and the weakest amount of contraction was seen with COC, that is cathodal opening current. And as we can see on the right side, that is percentage of shortening or the strength of contraction. Here we understand it by the maximum amount of shortening. So maximum shortening is present with CCC, cathedral closing current, or slightly less strength of contraction with anodal closing current, even lesser with anodal opening current, and least strength of contraction is with cathedral opening current.